So welcome. So in this class we discuss about the life cycle in pteridophytes. So in previous classes we came to know pteridophytes are spore bearing plants. Some of the pteridophytes produce same type of spores and some other pteridophytes produce different types of spores. So based on the types of spores, the life cycle of pteridophytes can be easily understood by this particular chart. So for our convenience, we divided the life cycle into two types. One is homosporous type of life cycle, another one is the heterosporous type of life cycle. So homosporous, as you know very well, all the spores in that particular plant are same in structure and its function. And in the case of heterosporous, same plant produces both the microspores and megaspores. So the microspores are smaller in size when comparing to the megaspores. Now first we discuss about the homosporous type of life cycle. So in both the cases, particularly in the homosporous, the plant body is nothing but, we know very well, that is a diploid sporophyte. It is a dominant one, that is mostly they are perennial in nature. Even in dry conditions, though the leaves are being shed, the underground rhizome can produce the new sporophyte during the spring seasons. Okay. So the sporophyte, as we know very well, they are all diploid. So they produce an important structure called sorus. S-O-R-U-S, sorus. So what are sorus? Sorus are structures which are having or enclosing sporangia. Sporangia is a plural term and sporangium, S-P-O-R-A-N-G-I-U-M, sporangium is a singular. So all the sporangia are collectively covered by and they are present in a structure, that is what we call it as sorus. In plural it is known as sori, S-O-R-I, sori. So inside the sporangia, or if you take a single sporangium, when they are mature, they undergo an important cell division called meiosis. We know very well that during meiosis, the chromosome number in each cell is being halved, become half in nature, so that we get many spores. So all the spores are formed after meiosis, so naturally they are all haploid. They are all haploid. So now we have to understand here, the plant body is a diploid one, the sporophyte is a diploid one, as well as the sorus, then the sporangia are all are diploid in nature, they are all diploid. But after the meiosis took place, inside the sporangium, in each sporangium, we get many spores. But all the spores are going to be, as already I told you, they are all same size. So they are all homosporous. So, but these spores are now haploid in nature. So these haploid spores germinate and they form a structure called prothallus. Normally it is known as prothallus, or otherwise it is known as a gametophyte. It is a gametophyte. It is a single part, the gametophyte. So the gametophyte is also haploid because the gametophyte develops from the spores. So they are all haploid in nature. So from this gametophyte, At some places you can see the presence of the male reproductive structure called antheridium, and within the same gametophyte in some other places we can see the presence of the archegonium, that is the female reproductive structure. In most of the plants, the antheridium and the archegonia are in most of the plants, both the archegonia and the antheridia are present at the lower surface of the gametophyte, or it is little bit embedded in the gametophyte. That is why they are all known as cryptogamic. They are known as cryptogamic. They are, that is the meaning of what, hidden. They are all hidden in nature. Okay. So from the archegonium, we know very well an egg is formed, and from antheridium a sperm is formed. The sperm is a motile in nature, so they can easily move towards the archegonium, and they can go and reach the egg, and they undergo fertilization, a process by which the diploid condition is going to be again retained in the form of zygote. In the form of zygote. This we know very well from our lower classes that whenever egg fuses with the sperm, we can get an zygote. That zygote is diploid in nature. So now this zygote is going to form a thick wall around that, and then it develops into an embryo. Okay. So now this embryo is going to develop into the plant body, an young sporophyte. It is going to develop into an young sporophyte. So like this, the life cycle of the homosporous pteridophytes goes or starts from the sorus, and then the sporangia. From that sporangia we can get the spores. So from the spores we can get a single type of gametophyte. You have to understand here, there is a single form of gametophyte. So from that single gametophyte we have both the male and female. So we can say this gametophyte is a monoecious gametophyte. Orillum, in Tamil we call it as orillum. That is the presence of both the male and female reproductive structures are in the same plant, but maybe in different parts or in different places. Okay, so homo sporous pteridophytes produce a monoecious gametophyte. Okay, so from this we get archegonium, antheridium, and then fertilization, zygote, embryo, then that develops into what, the sporophyte. This is the case of what, the homosporous life cycle. Okay, now we move to the another one called the heterosporous type. So hetero means what, different. In general, hetero means what, different. See, in this you can see the plant body is the sporophyte, there is no doubt. But this sporophyte, a diploid sporophyte, produces microsporangia and megasporangia. You have to understand here, it produces microsporangia and megasporangia. Of course, these are also present inside a sorus. But in most of these cases, in the heterosporous plants, the spores are formed inside a structure that is called as strobilus. Strobilus, strobilus. They are usually in the form of a cone that we will discuss in the next class. So the microsporangia and the megasporangia, they undergo meiosis during their mature stage, and respectively they produce the microspores. That is, the microsporangia produces microspores and megasporangia produce megaspores. So due to meiosis, now the spores are both are going to be haploid. Either microspores or megaspores, both are haploid because both are formed after the reduction division, that is a meiosis. But now here you have to understand the microspores produce the male gametophyte, male gametophyte, and the megaspores produce female gametophyte. So now if you compare this with the homosporous condition, in the homosporous we got only one type of spore, but in the heterosporous condition we have microspores and megaspores. So here both differs. That is a homosporous and the heterosporous differs. What type of spores they produce? Either the spores are going to be same or they are going to be different. Okay, now we go to the heterosporous. So the male gametophyte produces the antheridia and the female gametophyte produces the archegonia. So now we can see here the gametophytes are dioecious. There is a separate male gametophyte and a separate female gametophyte. So it is dioecious in nature. Dioecious, dioecious. Rest of the things are going to be the same like that of the homosporous. Say the antheridia produce sperm and archegonia produce egg. That is each antheridium and each archegonium. So each antheridium produces a sperm and each archegonium produces egg. So both are haploid in nature. They undergo fertilization. So zygote is formed and again the diploid condition is retained and then embryo, that embryo develops into the young sporophyte. So what is the difference mainly between these two types of life cycle? One is the homosporous, another one is the heterosporous. So in homosporous, the spores, you see the spores, we can see only spores. You have to understand very clearly here. But in the case of the heterosporous, we can see here microspores and megaspores. Microspores and megaspores. So the microspores produce male gametophyte, megaspore produces female gametophyte. But here you see the spores produce only one type of gametophyte. There is only one type of gametophyte. But here there are two types. One is the male, another one is the female. One is the male, another one is the female. But here the same gametophyte produces both antheridium and archegonium. But here the antheridium produces from the male gametophyte and archegonium produces from the female gametophyte. So these are all the basic differences between the homosporous type of life cycle and the heterosporous type of life cycle. So I hope that you can easily understand about the overall life cycle that happens in the pteridophytes. So here the important terms like sporophyte, then what is sorus, sporangia, spores, or we can say microspores and megaspores, then male gametophyte and female gametophyte, then antheridium, archegonium, egg, sperm. So some words we already heard from our lower classes itself. You might have studied in Tamil medium or some of you might have studied in English. However, here we have to study and write only in English. So you please kindly follow this. You can easily understand about the life cycle of pteridophytes. Thank you.